And we're back with another Play Hard Pickleball men's open event. We've got Jed Pettit and Brad Meyer on the close side, serving to Ben Campbell and Yahya Imam on the far side. A good play from Ben. He pulled Jed out wide and went to find that open space, but Jed was on it, snuck back in there with his tomahawk-esque forehand, and Ben watched that ball, hoping it would go out, but Jed found a good piece of the court to finish that point. Some good hands from all the guys. Ooh, and that last one just wide from Ben. So this event was a split age round robin and then a combined single elimination bracket. And in true Play Hard Pickleball fashion, they got maximum play. Their pools were 6 to 7 deep and they had games to 15. And then now we're in the seeded bracket play. So Jed and Brad have had a good little run here. A cross-court attack from Yahya right at Brad. He was ready, and then that final one Ben put into the net. So we're going to have 4-0-2, Jed serving. And just when Brad and Jed get to the net, Yahya pulls the trigger on another cross-court speed up. Brad was anticipating it coming down the middle, it looks like, but Yahya went crossbody and Brad was just a little late adjusting on that. So we've got a side out, going to be Ben serving 0-4-1. A nice attack from Jed. Yahya just hit that one a little long. Good leave from Brad on that ball. I'm pretty disappointed with my camera angle here. It has its merits. It's a pretty good view of the back of Brad as he moves towards the kitchen line, but you get like 5% of Yahya in this game. A nice flick from Brad that dinks that up a little bit, just enough for him to reach in and take that ball out of the air. He was prepped and ready for that Ernie finish, but didn't get the chance. So we've got a side out. 4-0-1, Jed's going to be serving. I'd have to say Brad and Jed had the most unique style of all the teams. These two are both always like knees on the ground, very scrappy. Jed throws lobs up out of nowhere and just toys with people. Brad's got great hands and gets everything back. Highly entertaining to watch. Great adjustment there from Brad on that net roll. So we've got 5-0-2. These guys have been stacking most of the points, so they're going to stick with that. Excellent play from Ben. The first drop floated a bit, so Ben took a step back to put that down at Jed's feet. I think he thought Yahya was going to hit this, which generally it would go down the middle or in Brad's direction. So he was swooping in to poach and put that ball away, but Ben ended up taking that and went behind Jed. So not a bad play. It's a risk it for the biscuit kind of situation, but it just didn't go his way. So we got a side out. Nice drive from Ben trying to catch Brad on the move. Ooh, and then an ambitious speed up from Brad. It was pretty low. He kind of forced it, just needed a little bit more finesse on that ball to get it up and over the net. Wow, we got a super aggressive point from Ben. Third and fifth shot drive and then into a hands battle. It seemed like there was a little hesitation from Ben. He might have thought that last ball was going out but didn't pull away in time. So we've got 1-5-2. Another really aggressive point from Ben and Yahya. I wonder if this is a calculated play where they decided to start swinging away because of the deficit. I feel like that helps sometimes. If you are stuck or just feel like you're not converting, or maybe you're falling victim to playing the game that your opponents are trying to dictate, sometimes you just gotta come out swinging and try to get a little bit of a let out. Especially since it's not on game point. They're not risking a whole lot by going to town on a few points in the middle of the game. Well, I know you can't see Yahya in this shot, but he had great hands, kept them in the point, and Brad hit that last one wide. So we've got a second server, 5-2-2. I think Jed saw Yahya was going to be taking this ball off the bounce, and classically, he'll speed up down the middle, but in this case, Yahya just flicked that ball with a lot of spin, and Jed was not able to do anything with it. So we've got this side out, 2-5-1. An off-speed backhand flick from Ben, and Jed got a little lucky there. Much to Ben and Yahya's chagrin, landed inside the baseline. So we've got 2-5-2. I think because of Ben's drives, Brad and Jed are opting to not stack on their return. That dink set up just enough for Brad to reach in and roll that over at Ben. I think Ben feels it was going out. It probably was, but fast-paced game in the moment. It's hard to not let your reflexes take over and hit that ball. Good job there from Yahya, just keeping these guys back. Pushing every ball to the baseline. Weren't able to get it done, so here's a second serve. And a missed volley dink from Jed there, so a quick side out for Ben and Yahya. Ooh, and a missed return from Brad. That's going to be an easy point for Ben and Yahya there. So they are on the move. Let's see if they can string some points together and tie this thing up. And an unfortunate net roll. Brad couldn't get that one back over. So now Ben and Yahya are getting close. We got 4-5-1. Nice pounds from Jed. Ben, you needed a tweener there, buddy. Looked like Yahya was going for an attack up Brad's line, but he was ready with his forehand to put that ball away. So we've got 5-4 and a long serve. So we got Jed coming up. These guys have been stuck at 5 for a while, so I love their decision to play straight up on this point. If you've listened to any of my other matches, you probably know if somebody is stuck, I really like the choice to mix up the stack a little bit, just give them a different look. Nice play from Yahya. He was able to adjust and go forehand on the last ball. Brad was sitting pretty heavy forehand in the middle and was not able to adjust in time. Even though Brad has great hands, Jed's the one hitting it back, engaged in the point. So it was a good call from Yahya to just redirect that ball. little bit high on the attack from Jed. Yahya was able to counter that with his backhand straight down. Brad had a tough ball to deal with. Some nice dinking going on here. And a missed dink, so we've got a tied game now, 6-6. And a long return from Jed, so Ben and Yahya have taken the lead. A nice drop from Ben. He was reading that, following it into the kitchen line, and Brad kept it real low with his short hop. Ben just overran that a little bit. So now we've got 7-6-2. I'm not sure who hit that one, and I think Ben and Yahya probably didn't either. So it's always tough when you got two paddles in the middle, not sure which one it's coming from and what direction it's going to go. You just can't read the ball. We got a lob serve from Jed. Jed read that one well. He seems to make that move a lot where he's rushing the net to come put a ball away, and we've seen it go awry a couple times, but that one went in his favor. It did get a little bit of a net tip, but I don't think it made much of a difference there. That was going to be a hard ball for Ben to deal with either way. A nice forehand roll from Ben right at Jed's feet. Couldn't get that one back, so we've got a second server. Some good paddle control from Ben, kept him in the point, and Brad just missed that final put away into the net, so we've got a side out. I think we're going to have a return fault here. Brad was in the wrong position on that ball. They had 7 points, and he was supposed to be on the receiving side, so either way, it's a point for Ben and Yahya. So it'll be 8-7-1, Yahya serving to Jed here. Ben got down on that last ball nicely, and these guys are on a bit of a roll now, 9-7-1. And a missed drop from Ben, so they still have got a second server, just need 2 points to win. That was quite the rip from Yahya, and Ben tried to come in and close that point, but wasn't able to get it done. So we've got a side out, and Brad and Jed have a chance to make some moves. Brad thought he might fall into the kitchen there. He's got a little bit of a limp. I wonder if he's cramping. It has been a very long day. Yahya taking some hits from Jed. He was impressive with that first block, but couldn't get the second one over the net. So we've got 8-9-2. Some nice drops from Brad, and then a scorpion finish from Jed. So these guys have tied it up, 9-9. Jed sticking with the lob serve. And a missed drive from Brad. So the serve goes back to Ben and Yahya at 9-9. Some more aggression from Ben and Yahya. Came out on top on that point. So we've got game point. Nice attacks from Ben. He was real stable and present in that hands battle, and Jed just got a little off balance on that last one and hit the tape. So game 1 is in the books, and we've got game 2 coming right up. All right, we've got game 2. So Ben and Yahya got the first game, and I feel like their aggressive points were the most effective. Like when they come driving through transition to get to the net, it just seemed like they converted more points. They took control, and I'll be curious to see if they continue with that trend. Nice speed up from Yahya. Jed, he kind of punched that ball. It just sailed wide by a hair. Almost had it. So Brad's going to be serving 0-2. A really powerful topspin roll from Ben, and another one to follow it up for Yahya. They're really working at Brad's outside foot. Brad did a great job dealing with those topspin rolls. Everybody had great hands here. We had some resets in there. And then Ben with a mid-court attack high at Jed's right shoulder is the one that sealed the deal for him. Great point from all the guys, but it went Ben and Yahya's way, so they got the serve back. Nice third shot drive from Yahya, but Brad dealt with it well, and then just that last one, he went to roll it and just hit the tape. A nice reset from Jed, and then Yahya went to speed that ball up at Brad. It licked the tape, and not much he could do about it. So he gave the my bad wave, but taking the point. A nice look down the line from Ben, just hit that drive wide. So we've got a second server, 2-0-2. What a serve from Yahya. Man, a great snag from Jed on Yahya's drive down the line. He saw him kind of creeping towards the middle and went for that space, but Jed got it back. And a missed volley, so we got a side out, 0-1. Ben was in a good position on that point, hitting down on that one, but Brad's hands were too good, and I think Ben a little slow on the reload. Might have thought he won that point and just didn't expect it to come back. Another lob serve from Jed, and a lob. Nice job from Jed, not that you can see him from this angle. And a sad Yahya. So we've got 2-2-1. Jed is loving the lob serves. A nice touch from Ben. Brad hit straight down on that ball, and Ben just gently dinked it over, and I think it caught Brad off guard. So we've got 2-2-2. A nice flick from Jed from below the net at Yahya's outside shoulder here. He was on it with the two-handed backhand. I think just swung a little early. It's tough to read when your opponent's about to flick the ball from beneath the net when you're standing there. It's hard to see where they're going. With that shot, if you know it's coming, sometimes a mini step back is the best way to get a good counter on that ball. Or if your opponent has a tendency to go either up the line or down the middle, you can slide, but if you guess wrong, you're probably in trouble. Back to the match, we've got 4-2-2. Yahya and Ben did a great job of working those two during that point, moving them around. Jed and Brad could not get to the net to get a more offensive position and just playing defense there. So we got a side out. It's going to be 2-4-1. A beautiful drop from Ben, but missed the attack long. Brad did a good job of keeping that ball low on the fourth. So we got 2-4-2. And a mistry from Yahya will send the serve back to Jed. Nice job from Yahya, keeping Jed back. And just a little long on the return. So we've got 5-2. Oh, and sailed the fourth long too. He can't believe it. Ben and Yahya seem to be struggling a bit in this game too. They, I'm sure, want to win this, close it out, and secure their place in the gold medal match, but they've got some work to do. A nice dink point here. They're all moving the ball around a lot. Yahya overextends on that last volley and pops it up. Jed pounced and Ben got a paddle on it, but overswung and hit that ball long. So looks like Ben and Yahya are going to take a timeout. That's a good choice. They have been stuck at 2 and haven't gotten a point since the beginning of the match. So these two are definitely stuck and need to take a bit of a reset. So we're back at 7-2-2. Brad and Jed have had quite the run in this last round, and Ben and Yahya really need to hold this and get the ball back, get a couple points on the board. Nice roll from Ben, lots of shape on that ball to Jed's backhand, and earned the side out. So we've got 2-7-1. Some really nice drops from Ben to get to the kitchen, and then Jed attack. Yahya got on that ball well, got it back, and then that final pop-up, Yahya hit Brad's wrist. He's apologizing, but, you know, really, I know he wanted to get down on it more, put it at Brad's feet, but he kind of gave Brad a chance to get it back. It was really close to his paddle. Oh, Jed going to flick that one at Ben, but hit the net. Nice drive drop combo from Yahya. And Ben sailing that last one long. So we've got a second server, 4-7-2. Yahya looking to reset that ball, but floated it up just enough for Jed to reach in and put that ball away behind him. So we've got a side out. Everyone's doing a good job keeping these dinks low, moving them around. This might be the longest point of the match. I wonder who will pull the trigger first. Any guesses? And we have a winner. Jed with the tomahawk attack. He got the ball he was looking for, was able to find some space between the guys and earn the point. So we've got 8-4-1. We should watch that point again. Very different from our last point. Ben and Yahya really just took control of the kitchen, kept these two back. They're throwing it up, trying to get a ball. And that was a pretty good one. Jed hit a decent drop, but still didn't give him enough time with Yahya taking it off the bounce, and then a really powerful put away. Both the guys went for it. We had a little bit of a collision between Ben's real aggressive topspin forehand roll and Yahya's beautiful tennis putaways. That's quite the task to try to get to the net for Brad and Jed. I've noticed on a couple of these points, Yahya's really going for that sideline to the right of Jed. Brad and Jed really pinch the middle on their approach. When you do that, it makes your opponent have to find the empty spaces, which are usually off to the sidelines. And if you play pickleball, you probably know that's one of the most likely spots you're going to hit the ball out. So crowding the middle takes away opportunity for your opponents, but to add an asterisk, if the ball's on one side or another, you still should be tracking and moving with the ball. My friend Sally always says the middle is not the center line, it's the space between you and your partner. So pinching the middle can look different depending on where the ball is on your opponent's court. A nice attack from Ben. These guys got another point, so it's going to be 6-8. Love this block from Jed on Yahya's drive. And Jed with the speed up at Yahya's left shoulder, he was ready with his backhand to counter that ball and got him a point. So 7-8. A missed volley dink from Ben, but these two made a great run. They have closed the gap on the points, so it's a tight game now. Ooh, that's a good ball from Ben. Rolls it right down the middle. This is a good example of where tracking the ball and moving with your partner is so important. Jed had to be there to cover the line, but Brad kind of separated from him on the approach, and I wouldn't like to see him take that ball. At the risk of sounding redundant, because Ben is in a lot of my videos, I have to just say again, the lefty angles throw a wrench in the plans. Brad has great instincts, but it's easy to forget you've got a lefty on the left side of the court and have a hard time anticipating that ball. Yahya started it, but Ben was able to really take control and finish that point. Some more lefty menacing. Ooh, Yahya digging that one off his shoelaces. And these guys have tied it up, so we've got 8-8. Nice drops from Ben to get these guys to the net, and then Brad hit a dink wide to Yahya's outside foot and just missed that. So we've got second server. And an overcooked drive from Ben. So we've got side out. Yahya taking these off the bounce and mixing up the placement. I like that look from Brad, but just missed it wide. That dink pulling Yahya out wide earned the floater for Brad to attack. Ben was there to cover, but I feel like he was just a little tense in that spot and left it up for Jed to finish. So Brad and Jed have another point. It's going to be 9-8-2. Yahya was able to catch Brad on the move, kind of got jammed up and popped that ball. Ben with the put away for a side out at 8-9-1. Jed did a great job being patient with this point, waiting for the opportunity to strike. He put some pressure on Ben with that inside foot dink and got the pop up to finish going right back at Ben's feet again. These guys are really doing a good job of being patient with this point. And I'm wondering who's going to pull the trigger first on this one. And it was Yahya this time. He got a dink that sat up high enough to get a really good piece of it, rolled it down the middle, but as we talked about before, Brad and Jed are really pinching and owning the center of the court. So probably not the best placement for that speed up, but judging by his body language, I think he knew that. Throwing it up. I like what Yahya did there. He threw a little forehand slice on that ball. Good recovery off the net, too. And a nice trigger pull from Brad. The dink sat up just enough. He was able to flick it over at Ben's body, jammed him up, and got the point. So these guys are on game point. Great play Jed initiated with this rush in and attack. Yahya tried to get the ball low with an inside out dink to Brad, but sat up just enough. Brad was able to jam Ben up and earn that final put away. So we're going to a game 3. Stay tuned. I will post that in the next couple days. If you liked watching, click here for game 3 once it's up, or in the meantime, check out this other match from Ben and Yahya winning gold at our last Play Hard Pickleball event.